guys, welcome to the Awesemo.com Keys to NASCAR DFS series. I'm Alex Baker, joined today by Phill Bennetzen. Phill, how you doing, man?
Great, Alex. How are you, bud?
Doing good. Our first topic, super speedways. I mean, this is probably the type of track that everyone loves to play because there's all the crashes, and it's the fastest racing because you got a really long track. So usually it's like a 2.5 mile track. And what is the big thing that differentiates super speedway racing from other NASCAR races?
It's the combination of the length, because like you said, we're talking about a 2.5 mile super speedway, and currently there's only two tracks. We're talking about Daytona and we're talking about Talladega. 2.5 miles with high banking creates super speeds. Because of the banking and the speeds, you have something called the draft that allows the cars to stay in tandem with each other, whether you're going single file, double wide, or even three wide through the turns and through the straightaways. So because you have cars going so fast, so close together, it can just be pure chaos. Now, we have seen plenty of races where the drivers play it safe, follow along with each other, but eventually somebody's going to make a move, and when somebody makes a move, it can take out nearly half of the field.
That's what we're all watching for. Now they have mechanisms to restrict the maximum speed, which kind of evens the playing field between teams that have different funding. So what are we looking for as far as like the skill of the driver and the funding of the teams?
Like you said, NASCAR sets up these super speedway races in such a way that it makes practically the whole field even. So you've got your top tier teams that are spending top tier money, like Joe Gibbs Racing, Hendrick Motorsports, Penske. These guys are continually pouring millions upon millions of dollars into their outfits, while you've got some lower tier teams that are doing the absolute minimum to get by because of the amount of funding that they have for their teams. But when you come to a track like Daytona, you come to a track like Talladega, all of those advantages for these top tier teams, they go away. Their car is nearly the same as these backmarker cars. And when those backmarker cars can get in the draft, they are virtually the same as these top end guys.
All the guys have a pretty even chance to win compared to a lot of NASCAR races where it's like maybe 10 guys can win it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's so exciting to watch. Now, one thing, usually you're gunning for laps led points in a lot of NASCAR DFS tournaments. But in my experience, like the guy that's leading the race at like Daytona, that's not necessarily an advantage. Like I remember last year, Bubba Wallace was leading a bit, but then he ran out of fuel because like it takes more fuel to be out in front. So it's not usually one guy that leads a bunch of laps. Is that right?
Right. The consistent key that we see to these races at Daytona and Talladega is the top of the leaderboard, fantasy point wise, and whether we're looking at DraftKings, FanDuel, or even Super Draft, is it comes down to place differential, i.e., how many points as a driver positions is a driver gaining from where he starts versus where he finishes, and then the finishing points. Now, place differential is different across the sites. DraftKings awards a full point for every position that a driver gains, while FanDuel only does half a point. And then the finishing position points are different on DraftKings versus FanDuel. But the main key of what you're going for on both these sites is the same. You're going after finishing points and you're going after place differential, because these are the, I guess you would say they're the safest things to go after, because like you said, you can have a lap leader in these races, even though these races are typically shorter, somewhere in the neighborhood of 160 to 200 laps. But because of the chaos that could happen, you could have a driver simply not even wreck, but just fall out of the draft, lose 15 to 20 positions, and all of those, we call them dominator points, the laps led plus the fastest laps, all of those points that they got from being out in the lead, they mean nothing because they lost so many points due to negative place differential.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in to our first video in the Learn NASCAR DFS series, and make sure to check out the rest of our playlist.